only focusing at the police, because the canteen at the police was only for people within the barracks. Other people would not come to the barracks. It is not easy for people around to come to the barracks. But these days I see it. But at that time, it was very difficult for people to come to the barracks to buy. So I opened up this store, and I could see that I was growing up. At some point in time, friends, can you allow me to go inside the house, because I hear some prayers from a mosque? Is it okay? Do you hear that, or I continue?
You can go inside the house.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry about this. I didn't know.
Make it public here.
I hope the network would still be okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry about that. When I had these two shops, I was able to generate some profits, and I decided to buy a car. I decided to buy a pickup, a Toyota Hilux pickup. My calculation was that I would spend little money. I would not spend much on hiring vehicles to bring groceries from Kampala to Entebbe. And I wanted to have transport to make sure that I cut those costs. And I think every business, in order to grow, we must be able to have lesser costs, to maintain costs at a basic minimum, so that we can be able to get some profit. Why I'm saying that is that police officers are generally not doing well financially. And for me, to make sure that they don't go to buy elsewhere outside the police barracks, was to make sure that the prices of the commodities that I sold within the grocery were lower than what was outside. So in order to sell at a lower price, I had to make sure that the costs are kept at minimum. And I'm like I told you, the water, the electricity bill, I was not paying rent for the police canteen, because police canteens are designated for that, and there is a building. I don't know what they use the building now for. Others have turned them into nurseries and that kind of thing. But at that time, it was mandatory for every barracks to have a police canteen. So I was not paying rent, and I also wanted to now minimize the transport costs by buying my own car, and that worked. So I bought this car. I used to carry also, the car used to carry fish and pineapples. My brother Herbert Mugumia used to operate this. This was in 1993. So he used to operate this vehicle, and this vehicle brought in more money. Though it was 30,000 per day at that time. In 1992, I was getting 30,000 per day from this vehicle, from this old vehicle, which I bought 4 million Uganda shillings. Therefore, diversification, innovation, and learning about the environment also is good for business. I later realized that around Christmas time season, that people needed a lot of foodstuffs, cheaper foodstuffs, especially matoke, beef, which was being brought mainly from Western Uganda. Now, I use this opportunity to reflect on what I can do in order also to tap into this. And I think every business person should be able to understand the environment around you. Is there something that you can offer in the market? You don't stick to only one thing. I think it is good to have one business known, but as a person who is starting, yes, this is small business. I think it is good also to diversify and be able to do something different. And that is exactly what I did. Here I am. I have 2 stores. I have a vehicle, a pickup that was also making money. But my mind was now open to this opportunity of providing food, especially to 400 people who are in the barracks. I went to the veterinary department within Entebbe. It is a government stock farm. Those who have gone to the airport, it is around the airport. So I went there. I found there my friend called Dr. Kagoro, who is still there. He was so gracious enough to give me a tatarore. I put fuel. He gave me a tatarore free of charge because I went to him and I said, I want to buy food for the police officers. He agreed and I put fuel. I went to Mashiruka in Shema. Second time I went to Metoma, which was still Greater Bushenyi. And I personally cut matoke. You can't believe it. I cut matoke. I remember when I was in Metoma cutting matoke, one of the family I went to buy matoke was my OB, whom I had at St. Kagwa High School in Senior 4 in O-Level. But I think he stopped in O-Level. He went and, no, he didn't stop in O-Level. He went for grade 3 teaching, and he was a teacher. By the time I went there, he was a teacher. So when he saw me cutting matoke, he asked me, Tori Kasinje? I said, yes. Turashomere hamwe? I said, yes. Kabanzengo kazom police, I went to notemem toche. This almost set me back. And then, of course, he said, but you also went to Makerere University. How come you are cutting matoke? Friends who are listening to me, there are businesses that you are going to do, and people are going to draw you down. They are going to tie you down. Probably they think that with your level of education, you shouldn't be able to do that business. No. If you believe you have a plan, if you believe that plan can work, if you believe that there is going to be something out of what you have planned to do, go ahead and do it. Don't worry. Even if you have a BCom, you can go to Wino and start and start a store for selling of maybe beans or whatever. You can put it there. You don't need even to be there, but you need to start something. You need to augment on whatever you're doing. Even if you don't even do other things, this can be something that you can leverage on and start, and then it becomes big. And that is, I was not phased. So I told him, I said, yes, here I am. I'm Kasinje. So I went ahead, and I was surprised because he saw I was serious. And then he went and would even talk to other people. He would come and tell me, no, the other family, let's go to the other family, they have matoke. Let's go to the other family, they have matoke. I got 480 bunches from Mitoma within a day, just a day, because my friend was able to help me. So I think it is important to be able to do whatever we believe in, irrespective of what we think our standards are. We can do businesses. Later on, I would take this matoke, sell it to police officers first, and then go to the markets. And I did this for almost a year. And this time I was not going myself, but my brother Habat Mugumia would go get this matoke, bring it to Entebbe. We had so many challenges. The one time Erore had problems of tires, all the tires burst, and all the matoke ripened on board. That was somewhere after Kashaka coming to Mbarara town. So you can see, but I was not phased. I continued. I continued to do this. I continued to understand what this market was all about. And at that time, selling matoke was really a lot of money. We thought this was business for people who didn't go to school. In my village, we only knew so and so who sells matoke, and we didn't take them seriously. But I got money. I got capital, and the groceries also were working. And I decided to venture into transport business. Now I'm engaging another year, and I am going into transport business. I made some research because I was a police officer. I was seeing Kamunye's taxis being brought to the police station. I would talk to the drivers. I asked them, how the business of this Kamunye was running, and I realized that a minibus at that time was the drivers were paying the owner 65,000 Uganda shillings. My small pickup was paying me 30,000. But a minibus was paying 65,000 Uganda shillings. So I sat and realized that I could sell the pickup, add some little money, and buy a minibus. And that is what I did. This was in 1993. I sold my pickup at 4 million Uganda shillings and bought a minibus, used the minibus at 6.5 million. And the owner was able to accept the 4 million that I got from the car. And then he said the 2.5 million, we spread it in 6 months, that in 6 months I should be able to pay the money. And every coin that I would get from the daily money that they were giving me, 65,000 shillings, I would keep it very well. And then I would go and pay every week to the owner of this minibus. This business grew from strength to strength, and I was able to buy a second minibus, a third minibus. Now, from 1993 to 2002, I had developed a fleet of minibuses operating on Entebbe Road. I was even able to get these minibuses and as a seed and give it to my brothers. My brother Herbert Mugumia, my brother Delet, he was a teacher at Ngano High School, Delet Evans and Ahamia. And so I gave them minibuses and I would tell them, take the minibus and pay me slowly by slowly. You don't need to, and I think this is another lesson, that as people who are starting businesses, as young people, we have a resource within our families. I see Indians, so when they come here, families have businesses, and they leverage on this resource called a family. And the family, there is an amount of trust that people have within the families. But families these days, they seem to compete with each other. The so and so is competing with his brother who has built a better house, who has a better car, who has a better job, and they cannot put together little money and they do something. So for me, at that time, probably we didn't sit together and we did business as a family, which we are thinking about now. But I was not so selfish. And they were also starting to begin to do some work. Herbert was a social worker, Evans was a teacher. But I told them, I am making money from minibuses. Take this minibus and it does something for you. And I am glad I did that. And I hope young graduates, especially people from Western Uganda who are hearing this, we can do that. We can sit together and put some little resources. I know a family that started a small bus company called Muhammad. That bus company in Kabohe has become, now Muhammad is a circle. There's a huge circle called Muhammad. It operates from very many districts within Western Uganda. It has become so big. It started as a small Tata bus, which we saw it as young people in our village. So I did this, and I'm glad that at one time I had very many minibuses. I think I had 10, and I formed a company. I said, let me register this company, and then I think registering companies also has very, very good opportunities that we can leverage on, because you now can even get credit, you can get, because you have a company, you can go to a bank because you don't need to put a land title. That time they used to ask for land titles, but what do you have? Then you say, I have a company, I have a transport company, and then you would get capital to be able to go and do more things. So this business faced a slump. We all know that around 2005, many people were investing in minibuses, civil servants, other business people. Almost everyone wanted to have a minibus. Now, I saw that there was a problem with this business. I started minibuses on Entebbe Road where there were about 100 of them on the road. By 2005, we had about 400, 500 minibuses operating, plying the route of Entebbe and Kampala. And I saw that even the daily income of 65,000 had gone down to 40,000 to 35,000. Now, Utoda had made that a very big industry. They were pushing others out of the industry. That, I mean, the Utoda stands for Uganda Taxi Operators Drivers Association. But now the drivers were becoming more and more robust, and they were pushing owners out of this business. They were buying their own vehicles. They were buying some vehicles as an association. Like in Entebbe, they would have their own vehicles. Kajansi, they have their own vehicles. In Mbarara, then you hear of MTODA in Mbarara Taxi Operators Drivers Association. So even if one could not afford a vehicle as a driver, they could buy vehicles as an association, 10 vehicles, 20 vehicles, 30 vehicles. Some big rich people would even buy 100 vehicles at a go. There is a gentleman in Entebbe, actually one of who bought about 100 vehicles, Barikowa. His name is Barikowa. So this business was more getting organized, and this meant that small people who were buying one vehicle or two vehicles would be pushed out of the business. And I pretty sat down and realized that I was not going anywhere with the minibuses, and very many people actually sold out, and they about 90%. In 2006, I scanned the environment again, and I had sold these vehicles and was building my current home where I'm seated right now. And the person who was bringing materials, a gentleman called Mogambwa, he brought all the materials for 2 years until when I finished building this house. And then he came to me. I was seated at home. He came, packed his lorry, and then he said, Muzei, I want to talk to you. I said, on what? I said, do you know that the materials I brought here, the transport you paid me, the money you paid me for transport of building materials, I bought another lorry in 2 years? I said, what? He said, yes. You pulled the book, how much money I was paying him, and in 2 years he added some money and he had bought a vehicle, a lorry at 60 million Uganda shillings, maguru kumi. And he said, if you had your own lorry, you would have even had half of the money to put up this building. You would and you save it. So I asked him, what are you talking about? He said, you see, you wasted a lot of time in the minibuses. I want you to buy a lorry and you begin operating a lorry. And I think in business now, you need to get genuine people who can open your mind to greater opportunities. And that is what happened to me. So I told him, now I don't have money. You have seen me. I've just finished building this house. I don't have money. Then he said, you have something. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you are rich. I said, I'm not rich. My accounts, I can even show you my account. He said, no, you are rich and you can buy a lorry. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, you are rich because you have a name, and your name is Hassan Kasinje. I said, what? He said, yes, that is a patent. And I think in business law, my son is listening to me, Douglas. I saw he's listening to me, and he's part of the MUBS family. He's a lawyer, and I think he understands when I mean what a patent is, and all of you do. And I think a patent, from what we read in books and whatever, a name, your name can be a patent. How are you known? Are you a trusted person? Are you someone that can be relied upon? Are you somebody that has a good image within society? Can you go and leverage on your name and get money from someone without even paying interest? So I said, okay. Then he told me, I have a relative. He brings vehicles, he brings lorries from Japan. around Nakawa after Spear Motors. There are those, we call them coins, but these are where people bring in vehicles, used vehicles, and they sell. So he took me there and he showed me his brother, Wobu Kurira, Stephen Wobu Kurira. When Stephen saw me, he was so delighted. He was so happy. I'm saying, "Mukama wange, so kuraba, nkurabira ku TV, naye mfunyo mukisa kuraba in person." I said, "Now what is this? Because I'm coming to beg to have a rore. I don't have the money, and somebody is happy to see me." And I reflected on what Mugambo had told me, that you have a patent, you have a name, and your name is worthy being associated with by other people. So to cut the story short, Stephen accepted to give me a rore, and he told me, if you have money to put new tires, if you have money to add on a stand, that carrier behind, that board, the board, if you can add on, because they come when they are low, you have to add on so that they become a little bit higher, but not to get problems with the URA. And then he said, then you can go do that and you will pay me every month. Begin to pay me and we see how it goes. Friends who are listening to me, I go into this place without money in my pockets. I get out of this place with a rore worth 70 million Uganda shillings. Yes, it is a true story. It is in Chosen. You can read the whole story, how it went. Anyway, I took the rore. Mugambo put some money on the tires, and then he upgraded the carrier. And then he put his own brother, because he himself had his own rore. He put his brother, and his brother started operating this rore. And I began to pay week by week. A rore of that nature at that time was paying me 2 million Uganda shillings per week. 2 million Uganda shillings per week. Probably this was more than my salary per month. And that is the truth. This was more than my salary per month. And I began now to sit and focus on this business. Now, every week, I would take 1.5 million to Wobu Kurira. Every week, 1.5. Every week, 1.5. When we reached about 3 months, he called me. I went to his office and he told me, "You are a good man. You are trustworthy. I can rely on you. This one lorry will not pay itself. I'm going to add you another lorry so that you can be able to earn 4 million shillings per week. And that 4 million shillings per week will pay the first debt and will also pay the second debt." I thought he wanted to make me poor, to impoverish me and take advantage of me. But I had that faith of Mugambwa. I had that faith of this man who is not a shark of some nature. So I took another lorry at 65 million shillings. And after 1 month, he called me and said, "Yes, you have finished one lorry. You are paying another lorry. Can you get a third one?" That continued up to when he gave me five lorries in, I think this was in two years. In 2 years, I had 5 lorries. I had paid the debt. I had no debt with Stephen. I registered a company, and I think registering a company is very, very, very important. I paid my taxes. I paid taxes with the URA, that is domestic taxes. I paid them in time. I had somebody, there are people in town who operate, accounts, taxes. They calculate taxes for people. They help them to manage their taxes. They help them to manage their books of accounts. So there's a friend from our village. Actually, there's a village after ours. It's called Chabandara. And this young person who had started a small office, he had finished his course at Nakawa. Nakawa was not called MUBS at that time. I think it was starting to be MUBS because this was around 2006. Yes, it was MUBS, but for him, he had started before that. And he began to calculate for me how to manage taxes. If a vehicle is in a garage, how to go there and tell them, no, I'm not working. And that kind of business, it helped a lot because even managing of taxes was to the basic minimum. I started keeping track of drivers and employees. I started keeping records, real records. Every weekend, I would sit. Every Saturday, I would sit and go through the records. I see how much money I'm getting, how much money I'm paying for services of the vehicles, how much money I'm paying for the repairs, how much money I'm paying to the drivers, and all that. So I had records. I knew exactly what I was earning and how the business was moving. Now I avoided the temptation of hiring my own people who didn't understand this business. I avoided, middlemen for companies that wanted my vehicles to take for cement in Hima, in Tororo. They tell you stories and you give them your lorry. They take the lorry to Karamoja to bring this limestone. Within 1 month or 2 months, your vehicle will be a kind of ricket. You will not believe what your lorry is. So you are promised a lot of money, but there's no supervision. You have little supervision. You cannot go to Amdat to see where this limestone is coming from, who is driving it. Sometimes they don't do service. You hear an engine has knocked. Sometimes they tell you they work during the day, but at night they also go and do other things. The vehicle stays in Mbare or Tororo or in Hima, in Kasese. You cannot go there. So I avoided that temptation. And I think in business, we also have to make sure that we
The network is not clear.
Actually, I thought it was mine.
I think as we wait for Afande to make his network clear. Let's see feedback. As we wait for Afande, if you have any questions, any inquiries, you can put them in the chat. We shall handle them in the Q&A. As we wait for him to join us, for those that joined a bit late, we have a few take-homes from Afande's discussion.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. You can.
I am so sorry, Doctor. Somebody called me. Somebody was calling, and that interfered with the. I'm sorry about that. I was talking. I'm about to finish. I don't want to take a lot of time. I was talking about management of this new business that I was involved in, and I would like to say that. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Let me summarize this by saying that from 2006 until 2020, when we went into COVID operations, I had this company this business company of lorries that were taking building materials, to 10 vehicles, to 10 lorries. And the 10 lorries, if a lorry every week brings in 1.5 million, I was earning 15 million shillings per week. 15 million shillings per week. Ooh, the civil servant earning 15 million shillings. I think you can say I was one of the richest police officers, if I can say so. I don't want to brag, but I only want to say that I was getting a lot of money per week. Even if you had to spend some little money to do this and this, you are assured that every week you're going to the bank with 10 million shillings on your account. Until COVID-19 operations, and COVID-19 operations had a toll on most businesses, including this business of mine. Now, but I also realized that vehicles, especially big cars that we drive, can rock in money. In 2006, I bought a Land Cruiser for my family, and I was driving around, and somebody stopped me, and he said that can I hire that vehicle to a certain Mzungu who was working in Virus Research Institute. He was looking for a car of that nature. And I said, how much would you pay me? And he said that it is 150,000 shillings per day. 150,000 shillings per day. I wonder what this person was doing. I accepted to leave my vehicle, a Toyota Land Cruiser. They look like, box body kind of, very standard vehicles. And I gave it to him. And I think it was there with him for 3 years. 3 years, my vehicle at home is earning 150,000 per day. So I went and bought a small car, which I was driving, and this one was also making money. In short, I think we can utilize the resources that we have in a business sense. You have a big car, like I have a big car. It's V8, and you take a few, you whatever. But this car can manage you lease out, or you rent out, or you give out to people who want to have self-drive, and they can make money. And you can have about 4, 5, or 10 of them, and each vehicle can bring good money, and that is what happened. So it is important. Another thing that I want to say as I finish is to involve our spouses in businesses as a family. I did my wife, when we got married, she started working in the MUBS, Uganda. MUBS. That is the
Uganda Bureau.
Uganda Bureau of Standards. Am I right? Yes, yeah. Yes, of statistics. Yes. Thank you so much. That's where she was working. She was going to the field, spending about 1 week or 2 weeks where newly married people. And I said, no. I'm not going to allow you to go to the field and you spend 1 month and then you come back. They were doing population census. And so I said, no. So she said, what do we do? We turned the garage where we were staying in Entebbe. We had a flat. We were 8 people, but each one had a garage. I think God blessed us with a garage that was facing on the main road. Others had garages behind ours, and everyone who was passing the units would be able to see our garage. So I told my wife, "Can you open a grocery within this garage?" She opened a grocery. One of my brothers had finished Nkumba. He had done accounts. He was doing a diploma in accounts. Actually, he had finished his diploma in accounts. He's called Elijah Womsinje. He's in Kampala. He is in politics. And he started working there. Immediately from the university, then he started working with my wife in that shop. We grew the shop. It became so big. Everybody would come to buy bread, to buy milk, to buy everything that people needed in that Bogonga. It's called Bogonga area. They would all come to that grocery. And later on, one of our brothers died in Nganwa, and he had left a car, and his wife could not run this car, a small Carina cars of that time. And she has accepted to sell the car to us, and we turned it into a driving school. Now, my wife now was running a grocery. She was also running a driving school with one car. Again, the name comes up. Everybody around here, from Entebbe up to Kauku, up to Kajansi, even Kampala, they heard that Kasinje, a senior officer they trust, had a driving school. Everybody was coming to learn to drive, and then would bring IOVs to test people from Entebbe, not to go to Kampala, but to come to Entebbe to reduce on transport, to reduce on so many other things. And people fear police. I hear they pay a lot of money, bribes and all that to get a driving permit. But here, there was no extra money that was paid. You only pay money for the permit and you get your permit. This business also grew, and we had 3 vehicles in it, a pickup, a minibus, and a small car. She was able to build and capitalize on this company and be able to have money generated as a spouse. And she also opened hardware store. This hardware store started in Entebbe. And as I was going for retirement, we opened a hard store in Burindo. This is in Chira Town Council. It is called Dericas. And I wanted it to be a family of all my children, my wife, and I. So I got my retirement benefits. I put them in this store. I paid 1 year rent, 1 year upfront, and I bought a lorry for taking materials to building sites. I went and bought a lorry, 80 million shillings on credit, and this lorry started working. I hear when it is not taking cement to the sites, it is also doing other work for people who want to take materials from other places. I will end up with this story, and by saying that we need to work together with our spouses, and spouses are a blessing. We need to involve them in the businesses that we do. We don't need to keep our spouses at home and we give them what I hear is called kameza money. You wake up in the morning and you put 10,000 or 20,000 on this kameza, and your wife comes and picks it. I think it is making our spouses in a bondage, putting them in a bondage. To always, look for what you have left on that kameza. If you have not left anything, if you are annoyed, maybe there's a difference within the family. You don't put this money on kameza. I think that is dangerous. That is even what precipitates gender-based violence and all this. Why then not involve our spouses and our families, and we build synergies. What you can't do as a man, as a police officer, or as a lecturer, as a professor, you can't be seen. You are a professor at MUBS, but you are selling, matchboxes and whatever. You can't do that. But somebody within your family can do that. You can start a store for selling, veterinary medicine, drugs, and all that, and you don't need to stand in there in Barara City. Somebody can do that. Your wife can do that. So I believe that that also happens to expound on our businesses. So I believe in that I am training future business with my family, just like my father taught me business. And the other thing is that honesty is important, because honesty and trust made me to leverage on them and be able to be who I am. Right now, I have started with very few friends, 2 friends, a security company. It is called the Tayari Security Company. This is my 2nd month of operation. And I leveraged on the fact that I was a security officer, I was a police officer, and I understood private security businesses. business. While other people were pushing me to go and sit with the powers that be so that they give me back my job, that they renew my contract, I was seeing something different now. I was saying, no, why can't I go in business and I do business? Whether they give me 2 more years, the 2 more years will get finished within a rush. Right now, as I speak, 1 year has gone because I'm about to finish a year on retirement. How then should I continue in an office where I'm earning 2.4 million shillings and maybe some few allowances there when I can do business, a business that brings me money? I also declined opportunities of people who are calling me for jobs. These, executive jobs, again, public service jobs. I think I was being, I felt that the 1 year that I'm almost spending here has reduced the stress that I had at work. Not that I didn't want, but with age, we must accept that you have served well, you should finish well. And yes, and other people take over from there. So, Dr. Viola, I am finishing with this small story about my life, about managing. This will also come with leadership. In business, you are a leader, but whatever leadership that you are also having elsewhere, it should help you to open your eyes to have a business. I'm now running a tayari security company. I have been signing contracts, and I can see that this is a very, very, very good opportunity where I'm going to expound on it. I see regional tayari security offices in all the 10 cities in Uganda. I see having, guards and staff of more than 100, but people is not important. I am now trying to look into technology. How can I use few people by having technology, alarm systems, and all that, so that I can guard so many people by not deploying people, but having one vehicle, putting like 10 askaris, and people use alarm systems to the server, which is at my office. And then we use radios to communicate to our vehicle, patrol vehicles. They are at your home. Within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of reporting, of making that alarm. It is better than having so many people come to your home, guard the whole day. You fight with them. They are drunk. They are this, they are that. So I am now getting involved with people who have technology ideas so that I can use technology to guard as many people as possible. And I know I'm going to use it. I know that I believe in this. I know that where you have put you scanning the market, understanding the market and what the market needs, and also learning to be innovative and add something better so that you do better than what others are doing. I have entered this business of private security. Probably there are 200 in Uganda. Maybe there are about 100 and something in Kampala alone. Now, how do I stay afloat? How do I break even? It's not only going to be my name. I know people are coming because of my name. Again, name is important. But I'm going to do innovation. I'm going to do research. I'm going to have products that I can leverage on in order to make this become one of the most respected private security companies in Uganda. Just like you hear G4S, GS4, something like that. You got Netherlands, you got all these countries, the rest of the world, you find this company and it is here in Uganda. Who knows? Tayari may be in Kenya, Tayari will go to Rwanda, Tayari will go to Tanzania and South Sudan and Congo. I'm looking at that market. Within 10 years, we shall be regional and international. I thank you so much for listening to me. May God bless you.
Thank you so much, Afande. I feel like you needed more time because you have a wealth experience. Maybe next time we shall invite you because you had a lot to say. Allow me to take this opportunity to welcome and recognize our principal. But before I call him on to talk to us, for our guests that may be joining a bit late, this is our take home from Afande's discussion. He has told us always involve your children and spouse, in short, your family into your business, and make use of your name. You are a professor, you are an afande, you're someone in this society, please make use of your name. Then you need to know when to leave. Don't be static. If there is change, please also change. And don't let your perceived status in society kill your business dream. You work as a team and learn to always pay your taxes as you register, and supervision is key. That is a take home for me, and I thought I would also share with you for a recap. Before I invite Professor Balunywa, allow me to recognize the presence of Professor Rola, my colleague, Dr. Henry Mutebi, colleagues from Bar local government, friends from Rotary, especially the Rotary Club of Mbara, all the elites of the business school. We have our neighbor, Dr. Juliet Atwebembiri, the manager of UMI Mbara branch, among others. We already know that we are a bit out of time. Let me take this opportunity to invite Professor Waswa Balunywa to talk to us.
Thank you very much, Viola. Thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you friends on the call. I want to thank Afande Kasinje for that wonderful presentation. You know, the image we have of you is a policeman, and all this elaborate work you've done in business is amazing. It's amazing, and I think there are lessons to pick. I have one lorry. I think you've given me the idea of how to multiply these lorries. But I think this is a very inspiring story of somebody who is seeing where he's going. And when you say in the next, you are seeing these offices in the next 10 cities. That's what they call vision, that you are able to see it. And then you want to use technology. And that is the way to do business. Because business technology definitely is the key facilitator of success in business. And maybe we should thank that young man who told you need to buy lorries rather than get somebody to give you the goods that you use. I think these are very interesting experiences that we've seen, and I'm sure that people have picked lessons from this. As you're talking about taxis, I remembered, okay, because I live in Entebbe side. So I think that was a lot of work done, a lot of effort, and I think you have a blessing, I must say, Afande, that whatever you've touched has kind of been very successful. And I think, as Viola said, we need to come back a little more and talk about the financial discipline during the business, because that's one of the challenges we get, that people don't have that financial discipline to be able to pay back the money, religiously. And I think these are very good experiences. The issue of family is also very important. I think you raise a very important point. How do you involve your family in the business? How can they be your partners, if I use that word? And I think what is important here is that everybody must have stake as family members into the business to know that it's going to help them to achieve their goals. I want to thank you very much, and because of time, maybe if there are a few remarks, questions, maybe you allow them so that people can can find out some things that Fande was talking about. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Everybody on the call, have a wonderful day, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Professor. Allow me request Mr. Kadugala Diaz to take on the Q&A. I have seen already some in the chat. Please, Kadugala, take on that session as we close.
Hey, thank you so much, our host this morning, Dr. Viola Mpangwire, and to you, our guest speaker, my brother, Comrade Afande Hassan, and to you, our chief mentor, the principal. Thank you so much for your vast experience and knowledge. Now, here there are two questions that I would like to relay to you, Afande. This one is from Ebo. And Ebo is saying, thanks so much, Afande, for the presentation. How are you practicing sustainable business in the long run? I mean, protecting the environment and people while making your profits. Then another question, Afande, do you think the power of Gamba No is important for business success in day-to-day life? Then members, if you have a question and you feel like you want to relate direct, please put up your hand. Then I will be able to allow you and you ask your question in the remaining few minutes as we wind up this session. Other than that, people are appreciating. Thanks so much, Afande. This is an encouraging and inspirational. However, Afande would also share with us the challenges. I think, Afande, as of now, you can respond to those three. Then in case there are more, I will also present them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diaz. Yeah, I know because of time, I'm going to rush through. There are three. Number one, I think I was mentioning the challenges. Let me start from the last one. I was mentioning challenges. The challenge of when I was at the police station, the challenges of other people, not being happy with what you were doing. And I think in business, that is something that you cannot rule out. You do something, either somebody wants to do the same thing, which is okay, but then you find there's a huge rivalry within businesses. I've seen that. These challenges are there. The other challenge is of not taking your business seriously. Sometimes you want to do business and you expect that every time there are going to be supernatural profits. And when they don't come, you lose hope and you want to touch another. The other problem is that you want to do exactly what somebody is doing. It's like copy and paste. For me, I think copy and paste is not good. We need to scan the environment. We need to have a business plan. We need to know exactly what we are going into. I think we shouldn't go to business without knowing what is involved in that business. We must understand it. We must do some kind of feasibility study about what you want to do and how it is going to help you. So it's a challenge if you just go there. You don't keep records. You want to cheat URA. And I think when you pay these little taxes, I call them little taxes because when you understand, it's not as huge. It becomes huge when you are trying to evade. But taxes help you even to think more and continue, investing and make sure that when you get your profits and when you sell, you get the sales, you get the taxes, what remains as yours is what you focus on. So taxes shouldn't be a problem. We should have a culture of paying these taxes. But the other challenges in this market, like in the transport business I was in, was like, if you don't manage these drivers well, they will bring stories. There are lots of stories. I didn't have enough time to tell you what is involved in this. I was thinking, Professor Waridwa, and I think about this business. I will get time over the weekend, Professor, and I come to your home, which I know very well. I've visited you several times. So I come and we sit and I tell you, these drivers you need to have hands-on knowledge about them. Otherwise, they would be bringing you stories every time. This vehicle had this, this and this. They have not paid me. I worked with someone. He says he'll pay at the end of the month. The month ends and you ask him the money. Then he gives you stories. And by the time you realize your driver is having 2 lorries from your own lorry. He has bought 2 lorries from your own lorry because you are not paying attention to supervision, to inspection, and getting some intelligence on what those people are doing. And also to make sure that they don't break the law. They take the vehicle to a wetland. You hear NEMA has arrested your vehicle. To get your vehicle out of there, you have to pay more than 10 million Uganda shillings. So these are some of the challenges that go there. Every business has challenges, and we must understand the challenges before we go into. The power of Gambanogu in today's businesses, if it is pure on business, I don't see where Gambanogu is wrong. Because if I want to know whether I can have reduction in taxes, and somebody tells me, if you have to do that, you have to call the Commissioner General of Customs, Abel, himself. What's wrong with that? And then you call Abel, and then you say, Abel, I am Kasinje, retired AIGP. Then you say, oh, I know you. You begin to start from there. And then you say, now I have this business, but I can't pay taxes. There's a problem. They are closing. What do you do? And he says, no, let me tell them. Then we reschedule on how you pay. And then you remain in business. I don't see any problem with that. I think Gambanogu is wrong when you are providing a public service, and then you corruptly use that power of knowing each other to either deny other people's services or provide a service to someone that shouldn't have even got that service. I think that's why Gambanogu is not right. But in the business, I think we need to talk to each other. We need to see who can help us run this business. On sustainability, Ebo, thank you so much. This is a very, very good question. I have talked about so many businesses. The question is, how have I sustained those businesses that I've talked about? First of all, I think that a small business that is starting can generate into a big business, but it can also give you an opportunity to see something that you didn't see when you were starting. So like you started driving school, you may not continue with the driving school, but it leads you to something different. You may change the first one and go to another one, which you think is even better. So, but if it works for you, then we should all be doing whatever is possible to make sure that we sustain that kind of business. It is very important because how do you sustain? You sustain because you are getting profits out of that. You are going to sustain it because you have the goods that you are selling. You are getting them at an affordable cost. You are going to sustain it because you have customers and you want to make sure that you keep customers. And I think in Uganda, one of the problems that we have is that we don't know how to take cognizance of the customers that we have, how to make sure that we make them remain with you, remain loyal to you. The people that we employ should know the happy, how to make it of the owners of the company so that they don't go there and do their own things. Sustainability to me is very important. The type of product and how you are selling it on the market and how you are keeping the customers of that product and marketing it. I think marketing is also very, very important in sustaining the product. And then trustworthy. Ebo, I talked about trustworthiness, how people trust you, how people relate with you is important in sustaining this business. And I can tell you, this private security business I am into now, I'm going to sustain it. And as I promised, it is going even to go across borders. And so it's not going to be only because, I'm employing some few people there. I'm happy getting a 10 million check from a company, from this bank that I'm giving services. No, but every contract that I sign is normally 1 year or 2 years. How am I going to make sure that I sustain this? Is to make sure that I serve better. You make sure that the people I employ understand my vision, to make sure that I supervise them so well, to make sure I pay them well. I understand some people pay guards 150,000 Uganda shillings. They give them lunch. They see even the uniform that they put on, the uniforms they put on. These guards pay money. They look haggard. And actually people despise these people who are doing a very good service. Why? Because of how the managers of these companies, the leadership of these companies, how they treat a worker. And I think sustainability also is important in as far as the people who work for us in businesses are treated. I pay well. The salary, my salary is on top range in the business, in the economy, and I make sure that I give them some little houses where they sleep. People ask me, why do you get them houses where they sleep? I say, I spend more money if I buy a lorry and I have to pick them from their houses and drop them at the places of work. So when I calculated, I found that if I rent a house at 100,000 per month, and I put 5 askaris to stay there, not that they all sleep there at the same time. No, some work at night, some work during the day. So you find like 2 people staying there a night is much cheaper than if I had to buy a vehicle and have to drop these people everywhere. So, friends, sustainability is important in business, and I think we can do it in whatever way it is. Should be factored in when we plan for the business. I thank you so much for listening to me. I end up by saying, yes, I retired. And I think the places where we retire from are also important in as far as you should take it as a business. I'd forgotten to say this. Buy that small farm, put a banana plantation, put some few cows, make sure you sell milk, make sure you sell matoke as I'm doing. I can sell a lorry per month, a lorry of matoke at my banana plantation in Kashaka. Some of you know what I'm talking about. You know the place. And I cut 400 bunches in a month. That is a lorry. And if each bunch is 10,000, I am getting 4 million every month. And this adds on what I get as a person. Even when I'm at home, I make sure that I have workers there. And this is a business. We should not get homes, retirement homes, where you go to sleep and there's nothing that comes out of that retirement home. You should have milk, you should sell a cow and educate your children, you should sell matoke, you should grow vegetables, you should have chicken. I'm planning to have a chicken house, a poultry house, and a piggery, and this will augment on what I get. I thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much, our guest speaker. I think in the interest of time, we should end
here. Yeah.
Thank you,
Diaz. We have dug into our time. Thank you, our guests. We also want to inform you that we shall be...
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's close. The time is against.
Okay. I want to mention 2 things here. Let me just leave the question for Fande Kenneth. The 2 things I wanted to mention, ladies and gentlemen, is that right now, as MUBS Mbarara campus, we are receiving applications for all those who want to do master's degrees. We teach a master's in business administration and master's of science in procurement, supply chain management. So as we speak, our system is open. You can come to our campus here in Kamkuzi, or you can apply from wherever you are. But in case you encounter any difficult, our contacts are open and they are all here. Then 2, as MUBS Mbarara campus, we are going to graduate our students. We shall have our graduation ceremony next week on 17th. And for us as our and back to you.
Thank you, Diaz. Thank you, our guests, for being around for this long. I want to take this opportunity to let you know that we shall have these sessions every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Please do not get tired of joining us. We are very grateful. And for those that requested for recordings, just drop your emails. We shall send you this recording. Or you can contact any of the numbers they put in the chat. Then we shall be in position to send you these recordings. We are very grateful and we don't want to add any more time, but allow me invite Professor Aksimire to give closing remarks, and I request him to give the closing remarks in Runyankore Ruchiga for our business people from Bara. You're welcome, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Viola. Thank you, our host. I have been asked to give the closing remarks in Runyankore Ruchiga. So I'll turn to the language right away. Mwenu ninyenda kusima mnonga umuringo g'umutano afande Hassan ebyatwegesa ababihurira kunge kikuru munonga ninyenda kusima munonga ebintu byashomesa namba yo
Volume, please.
ninyenda kusima munonga ebintu byatushomesa aha gukora emirimo erikoga aha profession yawe mwenu businesses kubasa nawo kuri umukozi wa government ningo rukoresebwa no basa gukora endije mirimo kandi kutungisa echa kabiri kubasa kuguma no seizing ningashi no kozesa opportunity yo kubuyine kubasa gukora kutunga imishoboro yawe icyo ni kikuru munonga echa kandi tuwege kuteka abana beitu abacara bitu ningasha family members mu business zitu akwani batuyamba echa kandi networks inaba kugira ngo gamba no gune yamba abantu nubakira ku misuzinga shininga utakiyenga gamba nogu na namuntu kuwire networks ningasha abantu bakubasa kugira mu business
Yongera hiraka.
Echo nacho ni kikuru munonga. So na ndikwenda kuhendera because obwire buke munonga ninyenda kugambira afande Hassan ngu eji talk ni yaba ekukireyo obulingwa munonga. It's been the longest, but tushaba ngu next time turakweta wikirize obenitwe abanyambarara naba tubona abari ha college is talks zitu itwenka MUBS nitubantu yenda ngu mwije mutwegiteho tugumene twega ebiti bikwega mu class konka eji ni program yitu kutekaho kugira ngo community ningasha abantu bitu abatwetorire babase kuganyirwamo ninga kushoma mwene nyenda kuhendera ndi kwendeza buryo nkuru nakururungi konka ndukutaninga again omurujungu. I want to thank the principal who is here on call. I know the Runyankore might not be very okay with you. I want to thank the others who have been here with us. And again, I want to call on colleagues, especially those who would have been on call. Go tell a colleague to tell a colleague that they have really missed. Next time, we should be in big numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everybody who has been here, and I want to conclude by thanking our host, Dr. Viola. You have challenged us. Members, when Dr. Viola told me that she was inviting Fande, I said and asked her, do you think you will talk about this topic very well? Your response was, you will be shocked, and I am indeed shocked. Thank you so much, Hassan. The you that I have been hearing about is not the you I have had today. Nobody munonga, kama barinde, kandi mugine kurungi.
Thank you. Catch you next Tuesday. Have a great day.